Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to a new daily feature on Maze MTG. As you probably know, today, Monday the 17th of June, is the first day of the Core Set 2020 spoiler season. So to get into the spirit of things, we've come up with a new little segment that we're going to run during the preview season called Preview, Pre-Brew. Snappy title, right? So what's it all about? Each day we're going to pick one of the previews from around the internet and build a potential brew around that card for new standard using nothing else from Core 2020, just existing cards. So to give you an example of how that's going to work out, the deck we're looking at today is something called Golgari Dreadshift, and if you look in the top right hand corner of the screen, you'll notice the preview we built this deck around, and that preview is Dread Presence. So for 3 and a black, you have a 3/3 creature Nightmare, but more importantly, the text box on this card says whenever a swamp enters the battlefield under your control, you choose one. Either you draw a card and you lose 1 life, or Dread Presence deals 2 damage to any target and you gain 2 life. So one of the most powerful swamp-related landfall triggers we've probably ever seen. Feels kind of akin to Tireless Tracker in that it turns land drops in the late game into cards for you, but rather than needing to crack a clue, it does it immediately. But the ability I'm more interested in for the purposes of this brew is the second bullet point. So whenever a swamp enters the battlefield, Dread Presence does 2 damage to any target and you gain 2 life. So that got me thinking, how do we have more than 1 swamp enter the battlefield at once? Well, there are effects like Circuitous Route in Standard, which get 2 swamps from our deck and put them onto the battlefield. So that's shooting anything for 4 or drawing you 2 cards. That's pretty flexible, that's pretty powerful. But then I thought, what if we go one better? Scapeshift. So these cards will only be legal together in Standard for approximately 3 months, but for the time that they are, what Scapeshift allows you to do if you have, say, 7, 8, 9 lands on the battlefield, sacrifice them all, replace them with swamps from your deck. If you have a single Dread Presence on the battlefield, each of those swamps can do 2 damage to your opponent, and in a format with shock lands, it's unlikely they're going to get to the late game on 20 life exactly. Or if they are on 20 life or above, multiple copies of Dread Presence do then allow a subsequent Scapeshift to do 2 damage per swamp per Dread Presence to clean your opponent out of their life total in one fell swoop. So it's kind of similar to your Scapeshift decks in Modern, obviously a bit slower because it is standard format, but we do get all of the tools that black-green, the Golgari colour pair offer. So how have we built this deck? You'll notice there's a ×4 on the Dread Presence up there. We want 4 copies of the core card, and then the 56 other cards are as follows. So we'll start with the lands. Lands are important. We need enough swamps to kill our opponent off a Scapeshift. Hopefully 1 Scapeshift is going to be enough, so we have a total of 16 swamps in the deck. We have 12 copies of Basic Swamp, and 4 Overgrown Tomb, which is a swamp by virtue of the basic land type on the shock land type line. The remaining lands, we have 3 forests, 4 woodland cemeteries, because we do need to be able to make green mana for some of our spells, but the second green on Scapeshift isn't so important until later in the game, and hopefully by that point you'll have cast some other ramp spells to get you the second green source you need out of your deck, which is why we're able to kind of fudge the requirements there and play a majority swamp-based mana base. In terms of non-land spells, we have 3 Duress. We want to be able to pick apart opposing interaction, things that could potentially stop us going off with the present Scapeshift combo. Black-green gives us access to quite a powerful removal suite that's already seeing play in Golgari Sultai decks. So 2 cast down, 2 Assassin's Trophy, gives us a flexible suite of options to deal with opposing threats. Again, this deck doesn't have a sideboard, A, because it's only built around 1 M20 card, and B, we don't have any clue what the metagame is going to look like post-Core Set 2020, so there's not really much point putting 15 flexible cards in the sideboard and talking through them. It's just wasting everybody's time on this feature. The last card in the 2 converted mana cost slot is a removal spell, but it doesn't really cost 2. 3 copies of Finale of Eternity. So if our plan is to ramp to 8-9 lands for the Dread Presence Scapeshift combo, Finale of Eternity becomes quite a powerful 3-for-1 once you start being ahead of the curve in terms of land drops. And hey, maybe you get X to be 10 or more in the long game, who knows, it's definitely something to work towards, and especially against aggressive decks, getting to say 4-5 lands, being able to cast X as 2, sweep the board, pretty fantastic. Speaking of sweepers, we have 3 copies of Cry of the Carnarium in the deck. It's a role player now in Standard, stabilizing boards against aggro decks, I'm sure it will continue to be the same post-Core 2020. The remainder of our 3 converted mana cost spells, 4 copies of Elvish Rejuvenator. We're not playing it for the 1/1 body, but we do like chump blocking. What we're playing it for is the ability to put a land card from among the top 5 cards of our library into play tapped when it enters the battlefield, which puts us 1 land closer to being able to Scapeshift for lethal with the Dread Presence. We also have 3 copies of Grow from the Ashes, another rampant growth variant. However, in this case, if we have 5 mana, it's more flexible. We can kick it to get 2 more lands, ramping us from 5-6 lands to 7 or 8, again setting up ultimately for the Scapeshift. For Circuitous Route, kind of fills in our dedicated land searching package. While typically you've seen this in standard fetching up gates, it does just as good a job fetching basic forests, fetching basic swamps, and the one thing to remember is once you have a Dread Presence on the battlefield, you don't just get value when you Scapeshift, you get value from playing each swamp, from using Circuitous Route. The Dread Presence turns Circuitous Route into either a draw 2 gain 2, or deal 4 gain 4, or some combination of the two. It's kind of the green cryptic command. Disclaimer, Circuitous Route is not the green cryptic command. 3 copies of Death Sprout is quite a spicy one in our 4 mana slot. Considered Vraska's Contempt, because we may still want to be able to deal with Planeswalkers if we can't catch them with Duress or Assassin's Trophy, but this does do everything we want a spell to do. It's double black, not a problem with our 20 black sources. It allows us to destroy creatures at instant speed, and more importantly, it also acts as an additional ramp spell as well, getting another land out of our deck to put us closer to the Scapeshift Dread Presence combo finish. Then finally, in the 5 mana slot, we've got 2 copies of Massacre Girl. She's just in the deck as kind of a flex slot. Could be something like 1 Massacre Girl, 1 Vraska Relic Seeker, 1 Massacre Girl, 1 The Eldest Reborn. Just something to play around with. Again, this is more of a shell for a brew, designed to highlight the combo of Dread Presence and Scapeshift. Massacre Girl I like though, for ability to come down, stabilize the board again against aggressive decks that get under you before you get your combo off. Although, like I said, maybe you want the Eldest Reborn, make your opponent sacrifice a Planeswalker, ultimate get a Dread Presence out of the graveyard, and in doing so, means you can set up to then Scapeshift immediately afterwards, without having to spend 8 mana playing both Presence and Scapeshift on your own turn. And then again, Vraska Relic Seeker is just a powerful 6 mana Planeswalker, could want Liliana Dreadhorde General, could want an Ugin, again because you can ramp into these spells with the ramp in the deck as well, and just kind of use them to win a game in their own right. So, this is the deck, designed around Dread Presence and Scapeshift. Hopefully you like the idea, hopefully you like our preview pre-brews. Let me know what you think of the video in the comments below. Do you want to see more? Do you want to see less? We're definitely going to do them for a couple of days anyway, because I'm having fun making this video, so you can watch it whether you want to or not. If you enjoy this content, you want to see my other content or future preview pre-brews, please consider subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications, or if you want to see me playing other Magic live or after Core Set 2020 releases, there's a link in the description below as well to my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/madesmtg. Otherwise, I hope you have a fantastic day and you enjoy the Core Set 2020 previews. I won't post them anywhere without spoiler tags. Even in the thumbnail for this video, you'll have seen I've obliterated the text for Dread Presence, so if you prefer not to have anything spoiled, I guess it's too late now, but I did give you fair warning anyway. Have a fantastic day.